Hello everyone, welcome to Roma Theory. New week, new day, same life, but new news when it comes to Roma. Very big news because, today's main topic is gonna be ZIBI Boniek leading the race to enter Roma's interior department and kind of be that person to act as a shield for Mourinho. One of the things which, as we discussed, as soon as the season ended, it's the priority for Jose, not being isolated, having someone which can shield him, protect him, and attack the referees with him. So that is definitely something which we will talk today. It's been a great day when it comes to renewal of contracts. Brian Casemiro until 2027 and Stefan El Shaarawy almost done. Confirmation will come in these next couple of days until 2025 with an option to renew yet another year. It's been a very busy day when it comes to renewals. Another very interesting thing is, because yesterday, it was a new thing. It just came out yesterday. And I think we reacted it, just being a breaking news. Having waited 24 hours, in fact, the internet exploded when it comes to Thiago Pinto getting 8.5 million for a player who played 300 minutes in the Serie A. And we'll definitely speak about that Tahirovic sale because it's been a special one. The internet literally broke out to compliment Thiago Pinto on the way he dealt with that, because it's not easy to get 8.5 million and an incredible capital gain for a player which, yes, can turn into a massive prospect, but which only played 300 minutes this season. So, yeah, but that's not the priority today. The big priority today is this ZIBI Boniek news. This ZIBI Boniek news, I think it's very interesting because people, in fact, first of all, let's answer the question, who is ZIBI Boniek? Well, if you are, I'm not going to call you an old person, if you are an aged person who's been following Roma since quite a long while, you will know who ZIBI Boniek is. He was an ex-Roma player, ex-Roma striker, and he's Polish, and right now he is UEFA's vice president, so he's got a very big role in the European Department Organization of Football. And the Fredkins have chatted with him and they want to bring him inside Roma, to be part of Roma's interior, to act as that person which Jose always asked for, that shield. Because we are in a war against referees. Referees cost us too many points. Referees cost us a European final. And we cannot step into a new season with this war going on between us. In fact, when I say us, I'd say Mourinho and the referees. This is something which has to stop, because if the referees kind of avoid giving us so many points, then obviously it's impossible to have a successful season. And this has been Jose's priority. This has been Jose's priority because this season he felt too isolated. Many times in press conferences, in post-match interviews, he was by himself and kind of having no support from his interior, the ownership, and backing him and complaining against the referees. And this is something which Jose wants to change, and that he's kind of, persuaded the ownership to bring inside the interior departments a shield to play with him. I think there have been a lot of candidate names, but I have to be honest with you. ZIBI Boniek is probably the best one, and I will explain why. I will explain why just saying two things. The first reason is that he's UEFA's vice president. That's a big role. If we bring him in our ownership, as part of our ownership, he right now is UEFA's vice president. So after Ceferin, it's him. And that's a massive role. So bringing someone with that status inside your own team is definitely going to bring massive advantages, especially because, as we just said, it's UEFA who has to be blamed for that terrible refereeing. Because yes, at the end of the day, it's Anthony Taylor himself who has to be blamed, but who chose Anthony Taylor? Who chooses referees week in and week out? And there have been terrible scandals going on inside that European UEFA. So it's massive it would be massive to bring someone with his status to act as a barrier and shield in our team. Because if he's UEFA's vice president, he knows how to complain. And don't get me wrong, we need someone who doesn't complain like a child. And I think this is very important. We don't need to recruit someone who is only good at going, oh, it's his fault, it's his fault, it's his fault, oh my God, it's his fault. We don't need that. We need someone who is intelligent enough to complain, but using kind of the wise words. We don't need someone who clashes against the referees, because we already have Jose who does that. If we bring somebody with a similar attitude to Mourinho, nothing will change. In fact, it would probably be worse. Because if you have somebody who complains like Jose complains and calls referees fucking disgraces, things are going to become even worse. We need someone who acts as a levee in between what Jose does and what has to be done. Because, you know, there's limits to everything. So we need someone who is smart behind their complaints, who doesn't just complain because of the sake of complaining. We need somebody who smartly complains and uses his intelligence to complain. Complaints which could lead to improving relationships with the referee association. And that, I think, is vital. And somebody who has his status, vice president of UEFA, has to do that. In fact, knows how to do that. Because when you've got such a big position, you obviously are a massive person when it comes to debating and all of these things. And the second reason why it's very important, and in fact ZIBI BONIEK would be one of the best options, is because he's played with Roma, he knows this environment really well, he knows the fans really well, he knows what it means to work around the Roman environment, which is not an easy environment. It's a complicated environment. It's an environment where love and criticisms work out perfectly. So he knows this. He's been a player of this team, and it therefore means that he knows how to work around this ambience, which is another crucial thing. He's got great relationships with the Fredkins, which is the reason why he's leading the race to become this person. He's met with the Fredkins several times this season to kind of accelerate this move. He's met with the Fredkins in Budapest for the Europa League final. In fact, he's met with Dan Fredkin this weekend. Fun fact, Dan Fredkin this weekend, you know how Dan Fredkin loves planes, right? Yeah, our president loves planes. Our president is a very cool president, because our president gives me massive Tom Cruise vibes. Guiding planes around the sea, wearing, you know, uniforms with Roma badges. It's incredibly, you know, he's that cool kid. He's that cool kid. Dan Fredkin is that cool kid which we needed. Dan Fredkin this weekend was in a location near Rome, near the coast, and he was basically piloting planes with a uniform which had Roma badges. Kind of, I think they're filming something. So yeah, that's incredibly cool. And ZIBI BONIEK was with him this weekend as well. So, you know, we're having very constant meetings between the two sides, him and the Fredkins. And I do think he's leading the race. I mean, when will the announcement come? I don't know. I don't know if this is confirmed, but you know, he's definitely the best person, the candidate when it comes to having that position. You know, the Fredkins are starting to build their, what do we want to call it? Their army, because it's Dan and Ryan Fredkin. Then they appointed a few months ago. We will all remember when they appointed Lina Soluku, the Greek lady who is the CEO of Roma. And then you have them now trying to recruit someone who will act as a pivot between themselves and the manager, to kind of be the communicator. Then we have Thiago Pinto, who's the general director. So they're slowly starting to build their hierarchy, which is definitely something. It's definitely a pattern which is going on. You can definitely tell it, and yeah, they're placing their cards. And obviously, the other name, which was mentioned a few weeks ago to be a potential candidate, was Totti. I have to be honest with you, this is not Totti's role. Because, first of all, I just feel like his legacy with this team is too big. It's too big to bring someone with his again, status to be the shield of the manager. You know, if you bring Totti back in the ownership, you would give him a Paolo Maldini type job at AC Milan. Now, I know he got kicked out, but you would give him something to work around with Pinto, something with the transfer market, something with, I don't think Totti is the perfect man to be Mourinho's shield. Because, another reason why is because the fact that he has this massive legacy with the fans and the team and the club and every single Roma fan is also because we can't have him as a shield, because it can ruin the reputation of his legacy. And the last thing we want right now is this reputation between Totti and Roma being destroyed because he has to go against the referees or has to back. I don't think we need Totti for such position. Obviously, Totti needs to be recruited because he's one of the reasons why Roma is Roma right now, but not as a shield. Definitely not as a shield. And then the second reason is because Totti's character is not he's not somebody which complains. Let me put it this way. He cannot act as the enemy to referees. It just wouldn't make sense. Because he's got that jokey, you know how Totti has jokes ready every 2 seconds. He always smiles around. And he has said himself, I don't want to become a manager in the future because I am not suited for a manager. Because I can't tell my players to do better. I can't tell a potential squad which I have, you're too lazy. That's not who Totti is. And he's announced this himself. Totti is not somebody which goes against. Totti is more like waiting there, open arms, to welcome you in if he gets that ownership position. But he's definitely not somebody which goes against, attacks, protects. And to be fair, as a fan, I don't want him to do that. Because as you said, it will ruin the reputation which he has built. With loyalty, love. So definitely not Totti. Look, I will be honest with you. The perfect role model to act as a Jose shield is De Rossi, but De Rossi won't happen because he said he wants to become a manager. He's already had a few experiences with Spal. He's about to be recruited as a manager. Lo Spezia could appoint him as a new manager. So he would definitely not be available because he doesn't want to do that with his future. He would rather be a manager. But we need somebody with De Rossi's attitude and character. Something like R. So I think Boniek is great when it comes to status, when it comes to the fact that he's worked with this team before. And yeah, I will keep you updated if something happens. But yeah. Anyways, as we said at the start, it's been a big day when it comes to renewal of contracts because El Shaarawy and Roma have apparently found an agreement to extend his contract until 2025 with an option to renew it for yet another year. His salary would in fact decrease, and that again is the reason why everybody here needs to smash the like button for El Shaarawy having renewed that contract, because this man in a world where money is placed on top of everything, has decreased his salary, and he knows himself that he's probably not going to be a starting player next year to renew his contract with this team. And that needs a round of applause. El Shaarawy is an example for future generations. Loyalty, doesn't care about money, doesn't care about being at the center of the attention, but only cares about Roma and placing Roma in front of everything. Well-deserved renewal of contract, well-deserved extension. It will be announced in these next couple of days. And yeah, I absolutely love El Shaarawy. In fact, I grew up with El Shaarawy. You know, a lot of people here may not be as young as me, but El Shaarawy has definitely been one of those players which I've grown with that Barcelona comeback, with that insane 2018 Champions League campaign, his brace against Chelsea at home. Yeah, El Shaarawy is a special player, and I'm so happy he renewed his contract. And the other one is Cristante, the most underrated player this season for Roma. The player who has had the most successful tackles out of the entire league this season. Another player who's put Roma on top of everything. Another player which has never placed one word to destabilize this environment. These two renewals of contracts are so important to keep this brotherhood which Jose has established and kind of continue it. These are two of the most loyal players to Jose. Two players which would die for the team, for the manager, for the fans, and for their teammates. Cristante until 2028. Big renewal of contract, that is. So yeah, that's obviously big news when it comes to that. I think two players which deserve it, two players which have shown that they deserve it, and buzzing about the renewal of contract. And the last thing which I want to talk about is this masterclass of selling Tahirovic for 9 million euros, 8.5 to be more specific. It is an absolute masterclass from Pinto and Mourinho. We have, again, he's a young player and he can turn out to be an absolute baller. If you ask me, I don't think he is going to become an absolute baller, because absolute ballers in academy teams catch your eye. And I've said this yesterday, Tahirovic has never really impressed me to the extent which has made me go, oh wow, insane player, insane future he's got. We just sold a player who came from our academy, played only 300 minutes this season, and we have sold him for 8.5 million to Ajax. That is a so-called masterclass. That is what you call a capital gain. Getting a player which has turned our economic spreadsheets into something very positive. You know the reason why? The reason why we sold Tahirovic for 8.5 million, fair play to Pinto, massive congratulations to him, but that is another Mourinho masterclass. He pulled him from that academy team, he growed him, he started Tahirovic in a few games, he has said in several press conferences how he is going to be an insane player in the future. Bam, that's 9 million in our pocket. From a player which 3 months ago was not even worth the millions. That is how you behave in transfer windows. I'm actually going to say that us selling Tahirovic is one of the biggest deals under the Fredkin era, because it is insane how we handled this. It is incredible. He can, look, it can turn out to be an insane deal, and it can turn out to be a massive risk, because he could turn out to be a baller. But we are in a position where we have to take these risks because we need the money. So yeah, I mean, if this is the way we're moving towards us selling players, I think we're going to get a lot of money. Because if we got 8.5 million for Tahirovic, we're definitely going to get more for Volpato. We're definitely going to get more for Ibanez. We're definitely going to get more for any other player who wants to leave. And that is how you adopt a selling of a player in a transfer window. And let's not forget that that is 1/3 of the money which we need to make by the 30th of June in capital gains. That is literally 1/3 of that budget which we need to make done just by selling Tahirovic. So again, it's one of those deals which kind of moves away in the back scene because it's a player which isn't a big player. Tahirovic, who cares about Tahirovic? But if you look at the details of this deal, we have pulled something special from it. Insane how we got 8.5 million for a player who played 300 minutes. I still have to understand how we did that. But yeah, look, I'm going to end it here. If Fratesi moves to Inter on a loan without obligation, why couldn't we do the same to get him? Would that still go against the capital gain stuff? Look, the Fratesi deal is complicated. I'm going to sit down and read a few things on Fratesi to prepare a live stream in these next couple of days. I think either way, obviously the ideal thing is him to come and join us. But in worst case scenarios, now that he's pulling so many good performances with the Italian national team, his price tag is probably going to go up. And the more money Sassuolo make to sign Fratesi, the more money we also get. Because if they make 50 million for Fratesi, which is not going to happen because it's extremely exaggerated, we get 30% of that. So the more money Sassuolo makes, the more money we get. So we have to hope he joins us. But as things stand, it looks pretty complicated that he joins us. So yeah, I think either way, we're going to get money from it. And the more money we get, obviously the better. Because that also goes into our bank accounts. Anyways, can we get 2 players to the midfield extra? Who knows? Not many news today. But again, as I said before, Di Marzio has this show every evening from Monday to Friday. So today's probably going to announce something. Crucial dates for Scamacca too. He's exactly what we need, to be honest, and strengthen our staff, as Pinto has been absolutely popping off recently. If Fratesi really wants us, why doesn't he become a free agent so we can sign him for free? Well, because he's linked with Sassuolo, mate. As long as we don't sell Bove, it's alright, but selling Missori is unnecessary, says Romanista9. Who knows? But I do think Volpato and Missori are going to leave this week. Anyways, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel before you leave. Click all of the things below. I'm going to catch you there very soon. Important news today when it comes to ZIBI BONIek and a few other deals. I've enjoyed it, and I will catch you soon. So yeah, Simon, out.